My dearest Kethra, you may recall my last letter about the human wrestling exhibition, where I may have embarrassed myself with the intensity of my reaction. I believe I had seen the peak of human madness. Then my colleague invited me to his 7-year-old son's football game. I accepted, expecting a harmless children's activity. I was wrong. David is normally one of the most measured, thoughtful humans I have encountered since arriving on Earth. Calm, articulate, the sort of man who apologizes if he raises his voice during a conference call and brings herbal tea to diplomatic functions. Keep this description firmly in mind. We arrived at a modest grass field with white powdered lines and metal bleachers. No tickets, no assigned seats. It was free and open to the public. I took this as a promising sign that the event would be low intensity. The children arrived wearing equipment bags nearly as large as themselves. They proceeded to empty them and to strap on helmets, shoulder pads, chest protectors, and mouth guards. These were children aged 6 to 8, Kethra, and they were armoring themselves as though preparing for combat. The game began. What was intended to be an organized sport quickly dissolved into glorious chaos. A small human would receive the ball, take 2 steps in the intended direction, and immediately vanish beneath a pile of other small humans. Formations collapsed, plays broke down. One boy in the red team sprinted with impressive conviction straight toward the wrong end zone, while his coach, his teammates, and his mother all screamed his name. He kept running anyway. Through it all, I watched David transform. At first, he remained the picture of restraint, clapping politely, offering calm encouragement. "Good effort, Marcus. Stay in your lane, buddy," he would yell. 10 minutes later, the same man was standing, gripping the railing so tightly, his knuckles had gone white, screaming, "Wrap him up! Wrap him up!" at a 7-year-old's who couldn't possibly hear him. When Marcus made a solid tackle and both boys went down, David seized my arm and shook it with surprising strength while bellowing, "That's my boy! Did you see that?" I simply stared at him. He did not notice me at all. The true spectacle, however, was not on the field, it was on the sidelines. These were human parents, professionals, office workers, ordinary citizens, behaving as though the fate of their entire civilization depended on the performance of 6 and 7-year-olds in plastic armor. A woman 3 rows behind us had not stopped shouting specific tactical instructions since kickoff. "Outside! Set the edge! Contain!" All directed at a child who was at that exact moment trying to fix his helmet because it had spun completely sideways and he could no longer see. Another father paced the entire length of the sideline like a caged animal, mirroring every movement of the red team. When they advanced, he advanced. When they retreated, he retreated. He appeared completely unaware that he was not actually playing the game. Then came the moment that silenced everything. A small boy in the blue team, one of the youngest on the field, took the ball on a sweep and broke toward the outside. For a brief, glorious second, the field opened up in front of him. The crowd surged forward. David was screaming. Even I found myself leaning in. A red player hit him hard from the side. The sound of the impact carried clearly across the field. The boy went down hard and lay completely still. The entire field went silent. Not quiet, silent. 60 screaming adults, coaches, and children stopped at the exact same instant. David stopped breathing, his hand frozen on my arm. The boy's mother stood at the sideline with both hands pressed over her mouth. The coaches rushed out. Seconds stretched. Then slowly, the boy moved his hand. He sat up. A moment later, he stood. He was wobbly, clearly shaken, but he stood on his own. And the entire field, both teams, both sets of parents, every single person present erupted in cheers. Not for a score, not for victory, for the simple act of getting up. The red parents cheered as loudly as the blue. The boy who had delivered the hit jogged over and tapped the fallen boy's helmet in a gesture of respect. The mother was crying and smiling at the same time. The game resumed. The boy sat out for a few plays, then returned to the field. When he did, the blue parents gave him a long, loud ovation. Blue ultimately lost the game. Marcus was upset. David knelt in front of his son in the grass and said, with more tenderness than I have heard in most diplomatic summits, "You played hard and you didn't quit. That's all I ever want to see." 20 minutes earlier, this same man had been screaming, "Wrap him up," like a battlefield commander. Now he spoke to his son with quiet pride. I still cannot reconcile the two versions of David Morales. Then came the part I was least prepared for. Both teams lined up, facing each other. Every child, one by one. They walked the line, clasping hands with every member of the opposing team. Some said quiet words, some simply nodded. After an hour of armored combat, after all the screaming and collisions and parental hysteria, they looked their enemies in the eye and offered respect. They had fought back, they had fallen, and now it was over. I've spent 30 years negotiating peace between species that have hated each other for centuries. These 6-year-olds accomplished something similar in 40 seconds, voluntarily, and with far more grace than most adults I know. Humans do not teach their children to avoid conflict. They teach them that you can hit someone as hard as you are able and then shake their hand. That you can want to win so badly it makes you sick to your stomach, yet still respect the one who beat you. That the ground is a place you visit, not a place you live. I am not certain we teach our own children the same lesson, and that realization disturbs me more than any tackle I witnessed that day. Your devoted husband, Vrel. P.S. Marcus made 4 successful defensive actions. I counted them all. David only saw 3 because he was busy arguing with another parent about something called offsides. I intend to tell Marcus about the 4th one next week. P.P.S. I have since purchased a small folding chair designed for outdoor sporting events. It is blue. I am told this shows support. I do not fully understand the custom, but I am unwilling to risk appearing insufficiently supportive.